need a theme song. Okay, let's go and get into the rhythmus. Ooh, that's kind of cute. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the Reddit Mess, where I read Reddit stories. I give my unsolicited advice, a little bit of commentary, haha, kiki moments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into it. Today, I decided, because we're in the month of October, why not? I decided to do some creepy little stories, or just something that makes me kind of think, right? So I want to ask Reddit, and the question is, Reddit, what is your no sleep story that actually happened? So then for the Karens of Reddit, mind you, hopefully you're paying attention, I'm on Ask Reddit, okay? I'm not on No Sleep, I'm not on Let's Not Meet, I'm on Ask Reddit. Let's get into it. The question is, Reddit, what is your no sleep story that actually happened? Let's go ahead and get into it. So, the first post is, we moved into a new house a few months ago. As we were in the process of purchasing the house, the renter who was living in it died unexpectedly of natural causes in his mid-40s. He died right in the middle of the living room. So first and foremost, I think like the first thing that comes into my mind, this is my question. I haven't ventured off to buying a house just yet, so I haven't, that's, new territory for me. So I don't know the answer. But when you are purchasing a house, the person that is selling the house to you or renting it out, are they obligated to tell you if someone has passed away or not? That is my question. That comes to mind when I read that first little paragraph, right? Secondly, if someone were to tell me that, hey, you know what? Someone has passed in this house, babe, guess what? I'm not moving in. You will not catch my ass moving into a house where someone has physically died. Although I'm not one of those people that believe in like the paranormal activity, I don't want to risk it. That being said, let's go ahead and get back into it. So, shortly after, we move into the house, and almost immediately, our 2-year-old daughter starts talking about the ghost that lives in our house. No, ma'am. Now, let's be real here. She's 2, and 2-year-olds have a very impressionable imagination. Halloween had recently passed, and she had this Halloween-themed picture book that she loves to read. So it's entirely possible that all this talk of ghosts was just coming from looking through the book on a regular basis. Still, she was telling me that the ghost was in her playhouse, in the basement, or that the ghost was on the stairs, or that the ghost was standing in the corner. Babe, the way I would not be able to fully function in this house, every time my daughter would speak and say something, oh, there's Casper's on the staircase, Mom. Oh, Casper's in my playhouse, Mom. I would be sick. I would be literally dead. I would be deceased. Literally. Because you know how they say, like, especially like kids and stuff like that, they always say that kids, because they're so young, like they can see, like they can see the paranormal. And then animals too, like animals, they also say like animals can see the paranormal. I wouldn't be able to function. I would be sick, laying down in a corner somewhere. But anyways, getting back into it, Casper the friendly ghost is hanging around the house. So she considered him to be her friend, so I wasn't all that concerned, even if there really was a ghost hunting our house. If he's nice and a helpful ghost, it could certainly be a lot worse. I would often tell the ghost that he is welcome to stay if he wanted to, but he was also welcome to go if that would make him happier. I was 70% on the ghost being real, and she could see and talk to him versus the ghost being just her imagination, fueled by her Halloween book. Until one day, we were going out to the car to go to daycare in the morning. It was still dark and rainy. My daughter told me that the ghost was on the back deck. And then she told me today was the ghost's birthday, and she wanted to sing him happy birthday. Once I mostly disregarded what she was saying, as she is birthday obsessed and has in the past made us sing happy birthday to Mickey Mouse, a bowl of fruit snacks, and the bathroom. So we sang and wished the ghost a happy birthday and went on with our lives. Later that day, out of pure curiosity, I looked up the obituary of the man who had died in the house. And wouldn't you know it, it was his fucking birthday. You know what? That would have been the last birthday. That would have been the last birthday song he would have got out of me. Because, babe, when I tell you immediately, I would have packed up my bags and we would have been moving on out. We would have been moving on out. Because, no. This right here, I wouldn't be able to mentally handle that. Like, and it's weird because I never grew up in a household where we believed in, like, the paranormal activity. Like, it was very taboo for us to talk about spirits and ghosts. Like, say, I don't know, like, the curtain was to move. My grandmother would be like, oh, it's just the wind. Nothing's wrong. You know, if you're scared, pray about it. Like, that's literally how we dealt with anything paranormal. But, like I said, this right here, I'm never going to put myself, I'm never going to put myself in a situation where I would even have to deal with this. Like, I'm moving. Point blank, period, and the third. Getting back into it. The next story of the paranormal activity. Actually, I don't even know. But the next creepy post. When I was 16, a good friend and I were out at a local convenience store late one night getting junk food. So I overheard a man speaking loudly to the female clerk about how his trucking rig having broke down out on the US 2 not too far from the store we were in. She was telling him there wasn't much she could do, that when he asked the guy at the counter for a lift, the guy said no, he wasn't headed that way and left. My friend and I weren't headed in that direction either, but I thought I'd be a good Samaritan and give the guy a lift back to his truck as he seemed desperate. Babe, if being a good Samaritan means that I'm going to let a random stranger come into my car and I'm going to give them a lift to God knows where, in the opposite direction, where I'm not even going, then I'm not a good Samaritan. Because the way I would have minded my black business and kept it the fuck on moving wouldn't have happened. Wouldn't have happened. Like, the way the world is set up, you just don't know. You just don't know. So I would never risk it. I would never allow a stranger to come into my car. I just know. I mean, let me know in the comments if you would. Let me know. You know, this is just me. This is just me and my commentary. But let me know if you would actually let someone that you didn't know, a stranger that you saw that was down on their luck, would you let them in your car? I can see giving them some money, but would you physically let them in your car? Let me know. So getting back into it. So we pay for our junk food and start driving down the US 2. We get about 8 miles, and the whole time I'm asking where the truck is, and the guy just keeps saying, it's right up there, it's not far. 8 miles? There was something off about the guy. I couldn't put my finger on it, but the way he was smiling to himself and mumbling made me nervous. And from the look on my friend's face, I could see he was feeling the same. So if both of you guys are on the same accord, babe, why didn't you kick his ass out of the car? I know that might sound fucked up, but if you don't feel comfortable, kick their ass out the car. But the real question is, would he have even gotten out of the car? Ooh, that's the real question. That's the real question. That's tea right there. That's tea. And it's piping hot. Anyways, so we get like 20 miles outside of town. 20 miles. So we went from 8 miles to 20 miles. That's too far. They should have asked him if they were really going to do that, which they shouldn't have done that. They should have asked him, like, hey, like, how far is it? Like, give me a time frame. 30 minutes, an hour, what? I'm just saying, I'm still not in agreement to allowing a stranger to come into your car. But if you're going to do that, which, again, I don't recommend, you should have asked. You need to be asking questions. Anyways, we get like 20 miles outside of town where there's nothing but forest and swamp as far as the eye can see in either direction. There are no street lights, and we hadn't passed another car our entire drive there, as it's like 2 a.m. by this point. I figured we would just drop the guy off and go, but he insisted we try and help him with his truck, even though both of us told him we knew nothing about engines. We get out, and he anxiously hops into the cab of his rig and tries to turn the engine over. It makes some "I want to start but can't" sounds, and the guy loudly proclaims, "See, it's not working," as if he needed to prove it to us. He gets out, lifts the hood, and shines a light into the engine so we can see. He starts pointing at things far back on the engine, and I'm just kind of watching things play out as I'm negative when it comes to being mechanically inclined. I notice the guy's right hand is off behind him, and he keeps motioning with the light in his left hand to the back of the engine. The way I would have jetted off. The way I would have jetted off so fast. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, sir? But then the other thing that comes across my mind, I'm assuming they're boys. They're 16, which honestly, that makes me nervous too. Like, 16, you just got your license, you're driving, you have a little bit of freedom as I'm not a parent, but if I were a parent, like, honestly, like, the thought of this would make me so nervous. Like, you need to make smart decisions, especially when you start driving, babe. Like, you're 20 miles away from home in another direction. Jesus Christ. Anyways, so he's motioning. So getting back into the story, he's motioning off into the cut for someone to come over. He looks at me and says, maybe if you hold this light for him towards where he's looking at, he could get a better, what? He looked at me and says, maybe if you hold this light for him toward where he's looking, he could see better, and I'll go and try start it again. As he hands me the light, he leaned forward a little, exposing his right hand, which held a hammer tightly. Oh, so he's not motioning to anybody. Okay. I said to my friend, we really need to get going, just as headlights from a pickup truck came around the corner. The driver sees the three of us, slows and rolls down his window. He asks if everything is all right, and the trucker says, oh yeah, we nearly done here. I immediately say, actually, do you know anything about engines? Because his truck won't start and we really need to get going. That was smart. The pickup driver says he does. He says he's going to pull up behind us to get off the road so someone doesn't come speeding along in the dark and hit him. As he makes a U-turn and pulls into the place, I watch the truck driver lean into the engine, and there's an audible click of a sound before he draws his hand back. He walks to the cab, staring at me the entire time. Climbs in and fires up the truck. It didn't hesitate or give him any kind of trouble whatsoever. He simply pulled off into the night before the pickup driver could even get out of the truck. Looking back on it, I have no doubt we came very close to being another couple of missing kids. Whew. I bet you they would have learned a valuable lesson that night. That right there was way too much. Way too much, number one, for a 16-year-old that just got their license, a 16-year-old that's 20 miles away from home. You have to make smart decisions. You really do, period. So these are my final thoughts for this story. I don't know what you guys believe in, but I believe in the Lord. If you guys believe in a universe or a higher being, whatever y'all believe in. After reading that whole story, when I tell you, I truly believe that there was a strong guardian angel watching over those kids, because that could have gone really bad. You're telling me that they're 20 miles away in the opposite direction, away from home. They're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no cars. No cars are coming. They're off on the side of a road. And then, thank God, randomly a truck driver came and then had the decency to pull off to ask, like, hey, are you guys okay? What if there was no truck driver? And then, when I read the story, now that I'm taking the whole story in, honestly, I don't feel like that was that man's first rodeo. It was too thought out. The whole situation was too thought out. Like, I'm very curious to know, like, how many other people has he tried that on? It just seems like he's trying to prey on someone. It just seems as though he's trying to prey on someone's, what's the word? I don't want to say stupidity, because I really don't want to say stupidity, because at the end of the day, they really were trying to do a good deed here, but it really was a dumb move to physically do all of this for someone that they didn't know. It seems as though he was really preying on the weak, like just waiting for the next person to fall in his trap. So honestly, that's just me. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. But I really feel as though that he's done that before, and those kids got extremely lucky. And honestly, if I was the parent's child, I would have took their license away if they would have told me, because they really need to sit in their room and think about what they did. Like, it's okay to be nice. It's okay to be a good person, but it's also okay to draw the line and know how far you need to go with someone. Here, this is the same subreddit, but this is the next post. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm still freaked out by this, but anyways, when I was 18, I lived at my girlfriend's house with her parents, and it was a duplex. So we had neighbors right on the other side of the house. We had a room up in the attic, which was right next to the bedroom, where this couple had their bedroom in. The only part of the house where the duplex directly connected was the crawl space connected these two attic bedrooms, but that didn't bother us. We didn't think there was anything to worry about. Every story that I have read on Reddit, I'm so sorry, I have to add my little 2-piece in here. Every story that I have read on Reddit, if there is anything to do with a crawl space, there is foolishness. Foolishness is around the corner. If I haven't learned anything off of Reddit, and I am, when I start looking for houses or another apartment, I am going to avoid crawl spaces. I feel like crawl spaces needs to be a red flag. That's just my opinion. Crawl spaces need to be a red flag because what the fuck? Getting back into it, we find out 3 months later that this 40-year-old mother, Found out 3 months later that this 40-year-old mother that lived in the attic room over was mentally unstable and would constantly crawl into the crawl space that led to behind our bed and record our conversations every night. Boom, there it is. There it is. The crawl space. Told you. What did I say? First off, I have no words. I have no words. Getting back into it. She would just sit there and listen to us and record what we would say, completely unknown to us, for 3 months. Apparently, she was obsessed with us and wanted to figure stuff out about us. We found out after she showed my girlfriend's mother. That's weird. Why would you tell on yourself? I'm not agreeing with the crazy lady in the crawl space. I'm just stating, why would you out yourself out like that? Oh, mentally unstable. Disregard. Anyways, so getting back into it, we found out after she showed my girlfriend's mother. We stayed at my father's house for a while until they got evicted for not paying rent. So, babe, the crazy lady in the crawl space, why are you over here recording conversations trying to get to know somebody? You need to be worried about how you're going to pay that rent. You minding the business that doesn't pay you. Crazy lady. That's, The only thing that's coming into my head right now, because they said that she recorded the conversations, did they get the recording back? Or is that recording just still out there with the lady? No, we would have to get that recording back. I don't need my business out there in someone's mentally unstable brain. We would have to get that recording back. Stat. I think that was the last story. I think that's how I'm going to close out this episode of the Reddit mess. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also, this is just a question. Would some of y'all, would y'all like me to read some of your stories? Would you like to send me your stories, on the low? And I'll read it and give my advice. Just throwing that out there if you guys would like. Just let me know.